Most people think enjoying parties and hanging out in big groups is normal. If you don't like it, something must be wrong with you, right? This idea gets pushed on us everywhere, in movies, social media, and even at work. But Sigma males aren't antisocial or broken. They don't hate people or fear connection. What they hate are the fake, draining parts of socializing that others seem willing to tolerate. Think about the last time you left a social gathering feeling completely drained rather than energized. That feeling of relief when you finally get home, kick off your shoes, and don't have to perform anymore. For Sigma males, this isn't an occasional experience, it's the norm. It's not that they can't socialize. It's that certain aspects of modern socializing seem designed to make authentic connection nearly impossible. Between the roles people play, the scripts they follow, and the constant need to navigate invisible social hierarchies, what should be enjoyable often turns into an exhausting game of trying to fit in. So what exactly makes socializing so unappealing to these independent-minded men? Let's explore the 6 specific things that drive Sigma males crazy about social gatherings and why their perspective might be more reasonable than you think. Number 1. They're fed up with all the social masks. Have you ever watched how people change when they enter a room full of others? The guy who was just complaining about his boss suddenly becomes his biggest fan when that same boss walks in. The quiet coworker transforms into the life of the party. The tough friend becomes overly polite and agreeable. This constant changing of faces, these social masks, is something Sigma males notice more than most. While others slip on these different personas without thinking much about it, Sigma males find the whole performance exhausting and frustrating. It's not just about noticing the fakeness, it's about feeling pressured to play the same game. At work events, family gatherings, or friendly meetups, there's always an unwritten script to follow. Laugh at the right jokes. Don't bring up certain topics. Pretend to care about things you don't. For Sigma males, this feels like betraying themselves. This is called identity consistency, the need to be the same person across different situations. While many people adapt easily to different social expectations, Sigma males strongly value staying true to who they really are. The most draining part is watching genuine moments get buried under performances. When someone starts sharing something real and vulnerable, how quickly does the group steer back to safe, surface-level conversation? These missed opportunities for authentic connection make social gatherings feel pointless. Rather than playing along, Sigma males often choose smaller, more intimate settings where people feel less need to perform. One-on-one conversations or tiny groups of trusted friends create spaces where masks can come off and real connection can happen. Perhaps the real question isn't why Sigma males hate these social masks, it's why everyone else seems so comfortable wearing them. Number 2. Small talk feels like intellectual starvation. Nice weather we're having. How about that game last night? The traffic was terrible today. Small talk. Those empty conversations that fill the air but leave your mind hungry for something real. For Sigma males, small talk isn't just boring, it's painful. While others seem satisfied to chat about the weather for 20 minutes, Sigma males feel their brains going numb. It's like being hungry and someone offering you a plate of plastic food. It looks like nourishment, but provides nothing of value. This isn't about being snobby or thinking they're smarter than everyone else. It's about craving conversations that actually matter. Sigma males want to discuss ideas, explore new concepts, or dive into topics that challenge their thinking. They'd rather talk about one meaningful thing than 20 surface-level topics. What makes small talk really frustrating is how it keeps people strangers even after hours of conversation. You can chat with someone about sports and weather for years and still know nothing real about them. For Sigma males who want real connection, this feels like a waste of precious time. Brain science explains part of this. Studies show that deeper conversations actually release different chemicals in our brains than small talk. Meaningful discussion triggers dopamine and oxytocin. chemicals that make us feel good and connected. Small talk simply doesn't provide this neurological reward. Rather than suffering through hours of weather updates and traffic reports, Sigma males either find ways to steer conversations toward more interesting territory, or they conserve their social energy for people who naturally talk about deeper subjects. The mind is a terrible thing to waste, especially one conversation at a time. Number 3. Watching people compete for attention. Spend enough time at any party or group gathering, and you'll see it happen. The slightly raised voices, the interrupted conversations, the increasingly wild stories, the louder than necessary laughs. It's the human attention competition, playing out like a peacock display. For Sigma males, watching this contest unfold feels like being stuck in a bad reality TV show they never signed up to watch. While others jump into the game without thinking, these men stand back and observe the performance with a mixture of confusion and mild discomfort. It's not that they don't understand what's happening. They clearly see how one person tells a story, then another person immediately follows with a bigger, better story. How the volume gradually increases as people compete to be heard. How conversations become less about communication and more about performance. What makes this behavior really exhausting for Sigma males is the sheer pointlessness of it all. In their view, attention should be earned through having something valuable to contribute, not by being the loudest or most outrageous person in the room. The attention competition creates another problem. It makes real listening impossible. When everyone is just waiting for their turn to speak or planning how to interrupt, nobody is truly hearing what others are saying. For Sigma males who prefer substance over show, this environment feels like a social dead end. Rather than competing in this attention market, they typically opt out entirely. They might find a quieter corner with one thoughtful person, or simply observe the spectacle from a safe distance. Perhaps the loudest person in the room has the least to say worth hearing. Number 4. Groups that can't handle honest answers. How are you doing? Someone asks at a gathering. The expected answer is always great or fine, thanks. Even if you're having the worst day of your life, try giving an honest answer like, actually, I'm struggling with something difficult, and watch how quickly the conversation becomes awkward. This forced positivity is just one example of how groups punish honesty. Sigma males find themselves trapped in these situations all too often. Ask them a question, and they'll give you a straightforward answer, only to discover that's not what anyone actually wanted. Most social groups operate on an unwritten rule: keep things light, avoid uncomfortable truths, and never challenge the accepted ideas of the group. Express an unpopular opinion or question a commonly held belief, and you'll quickly feel the temperature in the room drop. The problem isn't just about social comfort. When groups reject honest communication, they miss opportunities for real connection and growth. A simple truth spoken plainly can spark meaningful discussion, but only if people are willing to hear it. Sigma males value honesty too much to play along with these pretend conversations. They'd rather say nothing than say something false, which often means they speak less in groups than others. This isn't because they have nothing to contribute. It's because they've learned that genuine answers aren't welcome. What's especially annoying is watching the same group that rejects honest answers later complain about feeling disconnected or having superficial relationships. The very thing they claim to want, authentic connection, is what they make impossible with their reaction to honesty. Maybe the measure of a good social circle isn't how well it entertains you, but how much truth it can handle. Number 5. Social rules make no logical sense. Have you ever been told you're doing it wrong when you thought you were just being normal? Social rules are like invisible tripwires. You don't know they exist until you've crashed into them. Sigma males stumble over these hidden rules constantly. While most people absorb social expectations through some mysterious osmosis, Sigma males find themselves wondering why things have to be so complicated. The whole timing thing is really baffling. Too early, too late, too eager, not eager enough. There's apparently a perfect window for everything from text responses to party arrivals, but nobody can explain exactly when it is or why it matters. Then there's the talking puzzle, figuring out exactly how much to share about yourself. Say too little, you're mysterious or rude. Say too much, you're oversharing. The Goldilocks zone of just right seems to shift depending on who you're talking to and where you are. Food and drink rituals make even less sense. The rules about who orders first, when to start eating, where to put your napkin, they change from place to place with no explanation, and heaven forbid you use the wrong fork. For Sigma males, these endless unwritten rules feel like a game where everyone got the rulebook except them. What's really annoying is how others treat small social mistakes like they're huge moral issues. This isn't about being rebellious or rude. It's about questioning whether relationships should really be this complicated. In a Sigma male's view, human connection should be built on authenticity and mutual respect, not on memorizing a secret social code. Perhaps the truly strange ones aren't those who question these rules, but those who follow them without ever asking why. Number 6. Being misunderstood becomes tiring fast. Imagine trying to speak a language only you know. No matter how clearly you explain your thoughts, people keep misinterpreting what you say. That's how many social interactions feel for Sigma males. It's not that they can't communicate. They often express themselves quite clearly. The problem is that their perspective is different enough from the mainstream that others frequently misread their intentions. Their straightforwardness gets labeled as rudeness. Their need for alone time is seen as rejection. Their thoughtful pauses are interpreted as disinterest. These constant misunderstandings pile up over time. Each one requires extra explanation and energy to correct, turning simple interactions into exhausting clarification sessions. It's like constantly having to translate yourself to people who think they speak your language but don't. The independence that defines Sigma males often gets misunderstood the most. When they choose not to participate in certain activities, people take it personally. But the real answer is that they simply recharge differently, which rarely seems to satisfy others. What makes this so exhausting is doing the same thing over and over. Explaining once why you prefer deeper conversations might be fine, but having the same explanation with different people week after week becomes its own form of social labor. Eventually, many Sigma males stop trying to correct these misunderstandings. They accept being mislabeled as antisocial or loners because the energy required to constantly explain themselves exceeds the benefit of being properly understood. When every social interaction requires a user manual to explain who you are, solitude starts to feel like the simpler choice. If this video spoke to you, I'd be happy to have you join our community by subscribing. Don't forget to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for being here. As always, stay strong and keep evolving.